is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider.
We need to get community. We need this thing to be bigger than just our little circle of players and coaches.
Are you kidding me? Touchdown, Oregon.
With 2 seconds on the clock, he hits it!
That's the bigger picture in this thing, allowing the community to celebrate the hard work, blue-collar mentality this group brings to the table.
And the Ducks have won it! The Ducks have won!
We get to struggle together, and we get to have joy together.
Dante will dribble it out! The Ducks are Pac-12 tournament champions!
I am so proud right now to be the head coach at Oregon.
Oregon's a Fiesta Bowl champion in a 12-win season.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
It's Athletic Director Tuesday. We've got a lot to come for you on the show today. Some big women's basketball news, both in the Big Ten era. Also, a new roster outlook for women's basketball. A huge commit coming in that we'll go into more detail on. Women's golf going to be coming down to the wire for their NCAA regionals. Round 2 just wrapped up. More updates coming. And then round 3 tomorrow. There's about 7 shots separating numbers 2 through 7 on the leaderboard. You got to be top 5 to advance. No shocker, the host team is like a 15-stroke advantage. That's kind of how these things work. We'll also talk a little softball readying for the Pac-12 tournament. Baseball's on the road for the stretch run ahead. I'm Joey Mack, and joining us for the very first time in the Country Financial Studio, Brooke Robinson is here. Brooke, welcome to Oregon. Thanks for being here.
Glad to be here.
Okay, so I have to tell everyone the truth on this. Brooke has already been informed about the 2-minute life story. However, she just today found out that we actually have a leaderboard and that it's actually competitive. So you have already told the 2-minute life story to me in a stressful situation in the PK Park press box during a lightning delay. And if memory serves, you said to me, so basically you need my elevator pitch. It's like I work in marketing or something.
That is true. I did say that.
Still the case? It's just
I was
the elevator
like,
pitch?
who is this guy that's asking for this?
Yeah.
And I'm making announcements about lightning. That's fine. I'll tell you.
Broadcast schmuck is who was asking. Brooke Robinson is the new assistant athletic director for marketing and fan experience, and she's kind enough to come on the show, do the introduction. Are you ready for the timed portion of the 2-minute life story?
Let's do it.
Okay. The 2-minute life story of Brooke Robinson. Go.
All right. I am Brooke Robinson. I'm originally from Fort Worth, Texas, specifically the Crowley-Burleson area of Fort Worth, where first American Idol winner Kelly Clarkson is from.
Oh.
Yeah. I played volleyball, basketball, golf growing up, and I also studied music for a long time, decided to pursue that when I went to college. Eventually decided that, I still wanted to work on the sports side of things, so gave that up. So I ended up at a small Division III school, which acrobatics tumbling fans here will very well know now, the University of Mary Hardin Baylor, not Baylor, in Belton, Texas, home to some pretty good barbecue. And I was able to work for the football program there, legendary head coach there, Pete Fredenberg, who won a few national titles there. Really successful team program, kind of let me in. Really gave me a background with connecting with the community and learning to work with student athletes and kind of a really special environment. I gave all of that up when I graduated to work in my dream, which was professional baseball, to work in baseball operations, but I started out in promotions. So all the crazy things you love to see on Twitter, about the uniforms, the rebranding, I loved all of that. And, I'm working 71 games a year before postseason to do all of that, and had a really fun time being able to be creative and as imaginative as I could be. So, but I really miss the college side of that, the not about wins or losses, not just the pulling tarp in the rain and working other sports. So I had the opportunity to come back to TCU, and worked there for a couple of years. Went to LSU to focus on in-venue entertainment. In a position there, I got to be around some really special teams and a really entertaining fan base there, and they're pretty funny. And had the opportunity to go to Wisconsin, and a place where I said I would never move where it snows, and end up at Wisconsin for years. And again, really special teams, really cool fan base, very unique fan base, and so really I loved my time there. Spent a long time there, and I got the call in January to make me think about considering coming to Eugene, and somehow I ended up here in a room with Joey Mack, and here we are.
2:20.15.
Wow, that was a long one.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Okay.
So when I ask this to like 18-year-olds, they're like, Joey, what do I say? You know, when you only have 18 years to fill, but that's a heck of an experience. Okay, I have multiple follow-ups.
Okay.
Right? All right. Kelly Clarkson, the best American Idol winner?
I mean, which other one has been in a movie?
Okay, there you go. See? Music background. So was music like your first love then? Like you thought you wanted to go into that and then ended up doing this?
You know, it's so funny. My mom will hate this because she will definitely watch this. I was playing basketball. My dad played basketball for a long time, and I was playing basketball. I was in a club team outside of school in 3rd grade. And my mom was like, if you want to continue playing on this club team, you need to audition for this choir. And I was like, I showed up in my uniform on a Saturday to audition for this. It's the Texas Girls Choir. It's an international traveling choir I was in for many years. But my mom was like, I need you to be balanced on both sides of things, all sports and arts. So I know. I know. And so I really loved, I was studying classical music for a long time and as a vocalist. So yeah, that's kind of the background there. But really it was because I wanted to keep playing basketball. And so
that's honestly though, the only reason that I did a lot of things in school was so that I was allowed to still play sports. You know, I get it. And as a parent now, I'm like, yep, that will be motivation that I will inevitably use. You, though, are someone that if you were on a trivia team, you would win every music category, doesn't matter what it is, it sounds like.
I did sub in a few weeks into me being here, and I knew every single song on the Name That Tune round.
Yeah. So this is obvious now. As an in-venue experience professional, music's a big part of that.
It is.
Right? So how much has that influenced everything you've done in your career since? I feel like it's probably a big part of it.
There are a lot of people on my side of the industry that feel that, they don't have to be a big music person, and you don't, right? I fully feel like I want to understand the fan base, and a lot of that has to do with what they do outside of work and in their own time, right? A lot of people, that's music, and it's what they listen to on the way to work. But some people are podcast people, so.
Some people listen to Duck Insider.
Yes.
Thank you, folks.
And so I am way more on the side of I listen to a lot of music. I think I average almost 2,000 artists on my Spotify Wrapped every year.
Wow.
I just try to, and I was able to play music and produce in a lot of my sports and past schools I've been to. So I try to go with the environment of you're going to hear something you like during the game.
Cool.
And it may not be your genre the entire game, but you're going to find something that you like, whether it's current or classic or whatever that might be.
I dig it. All right. Talking marketing, fan experience, Brooke Robinson. You didn't mention in the 2-Minute Life story the name connection and why your social handles are at Brooke Baseball.
That's true. My dad named me after Hall of Famer and World Series champion Brooks Robinson, the third baseman. Yes. He was a huge fan of Brooks, not necessarily the Orioles, but so
not an Orioles fan, but a Brooke Robinson. Interesting. Okay.
So wrote him a letter before I was born. Basically said if they had a daughter, they were going to name her Brooke after Brooks. So Brooke Baseball was born, and then I worked in professional baseball, and I've worked with baseball at some of the schools I've been at. So just kind of stuck.
And you like a good alliteration.
I love a good alliteration.
Yeah. Big fan. So minor league baseball. I think that there's a perception, if you will, around minor league baseball that it's what goes on in addition to the game is what makes that environment fun. It's different. In some ways, I would say unique from other sports. I feel like you have a good opinion on that. I don't know, how much has your minor league baseball time impacted what you've done at the college space?
Yeah, well, the difference in the college space, I'll say up front, is that, that evolves constantly. And whether it's, sometimes more focused on the fans, sometimes trying to keep that balance with making it a great atmosphere for the student athlete to like want to stay and play in, and as much as we can control that. So, and there's rules on the college side, as much as people don't like to admit that. I can't play Three Blind Mice every time the umpires walk out, it's not, there are rules. So trying to rein that in a little bit, but still have fun with it. There's elements that I think we can take from that, not saying everything needs to be Savannah Banana Land, but I think there's a lot of entertainment value. This is what people spend their discretionary dollars on, and they want to have fun and have a good experience, but they also, want to support the university that they love. So.
Yeah. The connection, I feel like or in some ways maybe the synergy between pageantry and then having fun, right, of what you're talking about. I mean, now I'm sure, studied, you've been to a lot of different schools. We're going to talk about Big Ten because you have Big Ten experience coming up, but how unique is it to have two songs that are not your fight song that belong to you at this university? Like from a music and marketing perspective, how unique is Oregon in that regard? I
love that. I actually asked about that on my interview, because I knew about Shout from Oregon volleyball playing at Madison this past December.
Yeah.
Because I reached out asking I try to incorporate traditions during NCAA postseason. So I knew about Shout and I'd seen it on TV. Coming home was when I learned about during my interview. I love having a song association because I think anytime the crowd can kind of participate in something, that's like the cool thing. At Wisconsin, we had Build Me Up Buttercup gets played during football. It's a really cool, like, people are singing along. It's a crowd participatory item.
Right.
Anytime you can build those, whether it happens just in the moment or it's, truly a thing, those are the things that I'm like, yes, we get to do that.
Yeah.
Like, the crowd likes music. They want to participate. These are the things that build such a great environment. It makes it easier to do my job.
Okay. That was just the follow-ups from the 2-Minute Life story.
Okay.
Now, a quick timeout, and we're going to ask the big questions when we return. It's basically like I'm talking to a new recruit that just committed. This is fun for me. Brooke Robinson with us, the new assistant athletic director for marketing and fan experience. We're back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is my job is people, everyone is my business. But unfortunately in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jakimick, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide. My service never stops.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
You know, there's always two conversations. There's the one that's on the air, and then there's the one that's off the air. In this case, the on the air continued into the off the air, and now I have to ask you to do something on the air.
Don't do it.
That we just all were witnesses to. We were discussing the 2-minute life story, 2 minutes, 20 seconds, pretty doggone good. Want to be closest to the pin, right? And you have a unique talent. You got to do it on the air now. People are going to get a kick out of this. All right, ready, everybody?
Okay, so I mentioned that my version to Joey in person was a little different than on the air, that it would be. And I said I think I included in there that my unique talent is that I can say the alphabet backwards in less than 10 seconds.
I'm timing it. Ready? Go.
ZYXWVUTSQPONMLKJIHDFEDCBA.
6 seconds! 6 seconds! That is a unique skill. I don't think I have ever heard anyone else that can do it that fast.
Oh, okay.
Have you?
I don't know that I've asked.
Why not? This is a great party trick. Like, that was good. That was great. So we talked a little bit about how you got here. The big question that everyone wants to know is, like, why did you choose to come to a place like Oregon?
Yeah. I mean, I mentioned earlier, like, I spent many years at Wisconsin. I loved it there, and I really love the community. Madison's a really cool place. We'll get into that a little bit later. But I got the call about it. It was a really cool opportunity. And I think, you know, I was kind of still on the fence about it until I was able to come to Eugene during the interview process. And the people were just, like, very kind. You know, I started out at TCU, which is a really small athletic department for being a Power 5 school. And it reminded me so much of that. And I truly loved, like, that, like, close, like, family, like, people are more casual with each other. But everyone works hard and people are super talented. And that's the same kind of vibe that I got here, really. And I thought it was a really special opportunity to help continue to grow in the Big Ten and to lead us into that and beyond past that, because I think everybody's excited about going to the Big Ten, but then there's a journey that comes after that. So it was just kind of an opportunity that was the right time for me, and I'm glad I was able to do it now, because especially since I get to hang out with Joey so much now.
You're so nice to lie. You're so nice to lie like that. That's next level marketing right there.
Well, if
right?
Ryan was here, I would say the same to him.
You don't need to. You don't need to. He still hasn't changed his handle. Again, like we talked about alliterations, Brooke Baseball. She was like Milano Media, and Ryan still hasn't changed it.
No. I was like, you could do the Milano Minute. He was like, oh.
Cookie Commentator is good. I like that, Knight. That's really good. That's good. Alliteration. Ryan, if you're tuned in, I expect to get a text here during the break. Assistant Athletic Director, Marketing and Fan Experience, Brooke Robinson, joining us. All right, marketing. Sometimes I feel like no one really knows exactly what that means. What is a day-to-day for you right now? Like, what is the day-to-day for you in this new role?
Yeah, it's a little bit different than I originally had planned on coming in. We're a little short-staffed right now, but that's okay. That's a short-term thing for us. So marketing in college athletics is easily explained as like an iceberg. You can see part of it, and there's a lot happening under,
that's
right?
Yeah.
So, you know, the parts that you can see is just the day-to-day of game operations and planning, scripting, things like that, planning ahead for promotions. So we're nearing the end of our home athletic schedule. And so just planning for those. So that's the part you can really see. The part that you don't see is, you know, the contracts and things like that we do annually with scripting, things like that. So yeah, the longer that title gets, the more that comes with that. So we've got a great team here. We're adding to that right now. So we're in the process of that. So there's a lot managing with that. A lot of it is looking ahead towards football season, and we've been fortunate enough that we're not having to worry about the day-to-day of selling season tickets. Thank you, Duck fans, for that. Yes. So we can focus on what does that environment look like. You know, we're taking it into the big stage now, the B1G stage, really.
Wow.
Yeah. Spoken as somebody who really spent time in the Big Ten, huh?
I can see that, yeah. Can we call it the Big 18 yet?
No.
So that's just like not even going to be entertained. Like we just can't get the number right.
I also don't get to make that call, so.
You're the closest expert I know to the Big Ten. Like we're going to talk about that. I said we would. Like The Big Ten. What do we expect? Like,
Yeah.
what you've been around this conference. Inform those of us of Pac-12 country. What are we expecting?
Yeah. Well, the cool part was I was able to see a lot of the Big Ten with Wisconsin volleyball. So I wasn't traveling for football games, and I went on the road variously with women's hockey and sports like that. So really cool if you are traveling in the Big Ten this season to check out a hockey game if you can. I know we don't have a team here, but wish you did. But to be able to experience college hockey in some of those schools like Michigan, Penn State, places like that, Wisconsin are really cool. But I was able to travel with volleyball, which the Big Ten is super proud of volleyball, and there's a big stage and a big expectation when it comes to that conference. So, the new members being added in, ourselves included, bring in a lot of national titles, which is really cool. It kind of just elevates that with volleyball. So, a conference that's super proud of volleyball among a lot of other sports, especially football, but very, very proud of their attendance records and attendance setters, really. Like, they're the people that set the bar for a lot of sports, and I look forward to that continuing to be the case, and I want us to be part of that and to lead us into that.
That's cool to hear. Like, I mean, there's so many headlines made about sellout streaks, like you think about Nebraska historically with football, but then the raucous environments are something to be proud of, right? So, hey, Duck fans at Autzen Stadium, I think the environment's going to be pretty good just based on those season ticket sales, but extending that to other sports.
I think, the perception has always been like, the Pac schools are being added in, they're not going to bring the crowds that the rest of the Big Ten did. And yes, that's not the case for all Big Ten schools. I'm fully aware of that. But I think we are going to be able to put a great foot forward, and with that visibility and those media contracts come an opportunity for us to be able to showcase the university really well, and a lot of different sports in the arenas and in Autzen and our other venues. And I just think it'll be a really cool opportunity to show us off well, and to kind of have that environment that people look at, as a kid that could be at a recruiting age that they want to go see that, or as a fan, like, oh, I got to add that to the bucket list. Like, I want to make and continue for this to be a place that gets circled.
I don't think that I or maybe anyone talks about this enough. Like what you just said, the recruiting angle of when you have a great environment, that's the hook to bring in recruits, right? Like, you think about that, it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, that was a big part when I was involved with Wisconsin volleyball, was thinking about it in the big picture. They have a lot of they can't recruit during this times of the year, contact, things like that, but they can turn on a TV. And so being able to show off your environment and your fan base and your student athletes, even when you're limited to just the broadcast, like, is an opportunity. It's not something that holds you back. So I think being able for us to show that off, and that comes with us working with broadcast too, but being able to show that off in a way that you're like, I have to be there.
What makes a good environment?
I love to think it's that crowd participation element that we talked about. I also think it's, I like to call it creating an environment that helps us win games. So being able to lean into the moments like third downs, things like that when it comes to football, that like really leans into us being able to have that home field advantage and that home court advantage. Like, I want the crowd to be what leans into that.
Yeah.
And I don't want it to be totally leaned on, the video board or music or something like that. Like, I want it to be all of those things coming together in some sort of like symphony,
What does a game day look like for you, for your staff? Like, and I know it changes from sport to sport, but in order to execute what you're talking about, like, where does this all start versus the end of the game? Because I know there's a lot of work that goes into it.
There is. Once we get down to like just the game day, we're talking about, so there's an entire script that, executes all the different elements, and it's got the marks in it for things like when our position groups enter the field. We'll just take football for an example. When position groups are on the field, we've got music earmarked for different position groups, as well as like team music versus like just switching in and out with fan music, that doors open time. So, there's a lot of setup for us. So we'll meet as a staff, go over the full script, and go over all our recognitions, like field locations, where the cameras are going to be, things like that. And then there's a lot of setup involved. For me, it's going up in the booth, and we make sure my script is set up there. We'll go through, test a lot of elements, audio elements. That includes video, that includes PA, wireless mics, things like that, DJ audio. Test through all of that. And then, we're just making sure we've got everything marked if we need to move anything. And there's a lot of stuff that starts a long time out, like 90 minutes out.
Right.
And that's just getting to the point of, spring game, we had a flyover.
Right.
There's a mark time that national anthem has to hit, that flyover was told a week in advance. So it's all leading up. For me, it's counting down to the second. I've got a specific app on my phone that'll take me to the second. So I know when teams are coming out, and that'll lead us into an appropriate kick time, which TV is counting on me to hit. So
are we.
And that's just the start of the game.
Right. That's just the start. Then there's everything that happens in the game.
Yep. So pregame is really, that's like in my position, a lot of people call that, like as a producer, you call that like the most stressful time, right? You're trying to hit starting lineups well, especially in an arena sport. You're trying to hit starting lineups really well. You're trying to hit that exact time. For me with baseball, sometimes I start the intro video a few seconds earlier if I know the starter warms up a little bit longer.
Right.
Because I'm trying to hit that time. So a lot of it's just kind of feel with that. But, when you get in-game, yes, you have items that are scripted and things like that. But you're trying to go along with the flow of the game as well. Things happen. You could have – it happens every game. But, there will be an injury on field and TV will take that break. And I can't do anything with that. So until that person gets off the field. So you got to move on the fly.
Right.
And one of my director of ops told me a long time ago, the great ones adjust. So you learn to move it around and things are flexible. And you go through the whole game and try to play the flow as you can.
Well, and to that point, I mean, I've now done more games than I wish I could forget that have had injuries in them. I mean, it's the worst part of sports.
Yeah.
It really is the worst part of sports. Similar, I guess, line of thinking. You want fans to interact. That's how you create an awesome hometown environment. What can fans do to help you? What can fans do to help that environment without even you doing anything per se? Like, what do you want fans to sort of be that, like, we've all heard this, right? Especially at Hayward Field, this is a thing. That educated fan base, right? Like they kind of know how can they help you, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I think there's two things, really. Number one, like, don't always come to be entertained. Know that we do want to entertain you, but be part of the entertainment, I think is a big thing of why some schools have been, and even pro teams have been super successful, is being an active participant in that environment. And I think the other thing is there are people who come to games that do not know the sport. No matter what you go to. It could be their first ever lacrosse match. It could be their first ever volleyball match. They don't know the sport, but they're there because they want to learn it, want to be part of it. I think there are always fans that know the sport at all these venues. I think, like, teaching your fellow fans instead of, like, oh, they're not participating. Like, if they're a visiting team fan, that's one thing. But, but I think, just like if we always do this, like, shout. My parents were able to come to a series when I first moved here. My mom was like, oh, they have a clapping thing that they do. And so she's like following along, and I was like, that's a fair point though. Like until you see it, you don't really know what to do. So, be part of that and teaching the people next to you or encouraging them to do it. And, doing something bigger together is a way better atmosphere than just, doing your own thing.
I'll never forget it. My freshman orientation here, they made sure that everyone was instructed on how to throw the O.
Okay.
Right? Like, that's interesting that you say that. Like, I just remembered that as you went down that. Like, not everyone knew. And so it was like, all right, you got to do it the right way. Split the pinkies. Otherwise, you're just way too tight. Doesn't work. Doesn't know. I mean, stuff like that.
Wow, you just taught me.
That's cool. Nah, you knew how to do the O. Absolutely. Throw the O. Come on. Throw the O. That's good. Perfect. See, perfection. What would you say to someone who's listening to this and it's like, oh, there's so much here. Like, I'd be interested to get into this. Advice for people that would want to get into what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, I mentioned this field changes all the time. So it's really cool. I've really leaned into, I wanted for so long to find my open door into this. And so I've leaned now the last 5-6 years into how can I continue to keep that door open behind me. And so anytime someone reaches out, Rob Mullen sent me someone the other day, and anytime someone reaches out that wants to know more about this industry, it may not end up being for you, and that's okay. But if it's something you're interested in, reach out to someone, like even scheduling an informational interview. I have a lot of undergraduate students that do that. They're way ahead of where I was. I will give them a lot of credit for that. But, being able to just do that, spend 10, 15 minutes asking questions about it, learning more about it, go to a game somewhere, pro, not, observe those things. You'll never see a game the same way ever again.
Yeah.
But being able to experience those things and see it and see what you're interested in, and then want to continue to build on that and just find those opportunities. There will be somebody who's willing to help you along your way, whether it's here in Eugene or wherever you're listening.
Or in Madison or
Fort Worth, Texas.
Somewhere in Texas. I was going to say, because you were around a few different parts of Texas in your life.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yep.
Big state. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Big state.
Very big state.
What else should fans know? Anything? What did we miss today?
Really excited for the future and for the Big Ten for warmer weather this weekend. My first experience in that. Yeah.
Good.
And I am genuinely excited to get to know Eugene and get to see Oregon, especially a little bit this summer, but also to plan ahead for this coming athletic year, which I think is just going to be really exciting. I'm looking forward to that. So.
Assistant Athletic Director, Marketing and Fan Experience, Brooke Robinson. I'm glad that we could pull you away from the snow. Thanks for being here.
Glad to be here. Thanks, Joey.
Thank you, Brooke. All right. When we come, round of applause, guys. Good work. Well done. Thank you, Brooke. So all of the things that you'll see going on in venues, around the venues, now you know a little bit why and what's going on. When we come back, women's golf, some updates from their regional. It's going to be a tight close for the Ducks on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Summer's here, and with a new Toyota, you can make the most out of summer with all your friends. Most of my friends happen to be four-legged.
Your summer starts here, but it all ends June 3rd. Toyota, let's go places. Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Summer's here, and with a new Toyota, you can make the most out of summer with all your friends. Most of my friends happen to be four-legged.
Your summer starts here, but it all ends June 3rd. Toyota, let's go places. Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys! I love this song! I love these nachos. I love our kickball league! Ugh! I love this guy! What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. Thanks again to Brooke Robinson, Assistant Athletic Director for Marketing and Fan Experience. She's been on the job about 7 weeks and was kind enough to come in, talk with us a little bit. And I've talked with her a lot of baseball. She's been at PK Park since she got here, really. And I'm excited for what that experience looks like. Because, look, we all know that experience. How many coaches have we heard talk about how the experience changes things? So that's what Brooke is trying to foster. And I liked what she said about fan participation. You know, like, the fans can really make a difference. We've seen that over and over again. Update on women's golf. So yesterday, the Ducks combined to shoot 12 over par through the first 7 holes of the opening round. And then they bounced back to go just 2 over across the final 11 holes. They finished the day in a tie for 3rd place. And then today, they'll enter the final round of the NCAA Auburn Regional in 4th place after finishing Tuesday's second round with a 9 over 297. The number 14 Ducks, improved by 1 stroke from Monday's opening round, will go into Wednesday 1 stroke above the cut line at 19 over par. Number 7 Auburn leads the field on its home course at 1 over par. Shocker, the home course. Shocker. But, they earned the right to host it. I get it. Number 7 Auburn leads the way. Houston is in second at 15 over. North Carolina in third at 16 over. And you notice that? The 1 over compared to 15 over. 14 shots between first and second place. So the Ducks, though, are in a tight one with Georgia and Tulsa currently sitting tied for 5th. Ducks, again, are in 4th. And the final qualifying spot at 20 over par. And the number 1 South Carolina is just 2 strokes behind at 22 over. That's the number 1 team in the country that's chasing the Ducks. Going to be a tight finish. So Houston at 15 over, and then all the way down to South Carolina in 7th place at 22 over. From 2nd through 7th, it's a 7-shot differential. And again, the top 5 teams advance to the NCAA tournament. Coach Radley thought that today was a grind for the team. He said, outside of a couple holes that kind of inflated our score, I thought we did a nice job of executing our game plan, especially on the front 9. So the Ducks saw some improvement. It's going to be a tight finish tomorrow for Oregon women's golf. Meanwhile, for women's basketball, huge addition today. Deja Kelly has announced that she is joining the Ducks, committed. The 5'8" Kelly leaves North Carolina 8th in program history with 1,858 points. She comes to Eugene after a decorated 4-year career with the Tar Heels. She was a 2-time All-America honorable mention selection and 3-time All-ACC first-team pick. Helped the Tar Heels to 4 straight NCAA tournament appearances, including a berth in the Sweet 16 in 2022. Her career average of 15.4 points per game ranks 10th in North Carolina history. Last season was 9th in the ACC at over 16 points a game. She's the number 11 player in the transfer portal by ESPN. Started 120 of her 121 games over her 4 seasons at North Carolina. Deja Kelly will be a graduate transfer in the 24-25 year. 1 year of eligibility remaining. That's a huge addition. One of the best players in the country joining the Ducks in Deja Kelly. We also have the opponents and location for Oregon's upcoming 24-25 women's basketball season. They've been revealed. Big Ten Conference announcing that each team will play an 18-game conference schedule, 1 opponent both home and away, and 16 single-game opponents, 8 at home and 8 on the road. The Ducks will play Washington both home and away next season. The other Big Ten opponents that will visit Matthew Knight Arena include Indiana, Iowa, Maryland, Purdue, Rutgers, UCLA, USC, and Wisconsin. The Ducks will hit the road to take on Illinois, Michigan, Michigan State, Minnesota, Nebraska, Northwestern, Ohio State, and Penn State. Dates, times, and broadcast information will be announced at a later date, but we can tell you that we will have every single women's basketball game here on the Oregon Sports Network. Softball coming up. The Pac-12 tournament begins tomorrow. Knight Urescu's directing the show today is heading down for a 10 a.m. first pitch on Thursday. You can tune in on the Pac-12 Network, and Knight's got the hometown call on KWVA, the student radio station here at the University of Oregon. Ducks and Utes coming up at 10 a.m. on Thursday. And that's after Oregon State and Arizona State kick things off in Stanford on Wednesday, May 8th. The way the bracket sets up, it's Oregon-Utah, and then the winner of that one plays the winner of Stanford and Cal in the Pac-12 softball tournament. Stanford's hosting, Duck State on the road, and so when we come back, Missy Lombardi, Oregon softball head coach, live from her hotel room after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Summer's here, and with a new Toyota, you can make the most out of summer with all your friends. Most of my friends happen to be four-legged.
Your summer starts here, but it all ends June 3rd. Toyota, let's go places. Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
Summer's here, and with a new Toyota, you can make the most out of summer with all your friends. Most of my friends happen to be four-legged.
Your summer starts here, but it all ends June 3rd. Toyota, let's go places. Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Sometimes I just cannot believe all the storms we've gone through here. I can only hope that we'll be able to leave this house to you one day, baby. You're our legacy.
Planning for these disasters will make sure we're safe, and is the best way to protect that legacy.
Protect your legacy. Visit ready.gov/plan for the tools and tips you need to start your emergency preparedness plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, it's Duck Insider presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here in Eugene. Coach Lombardi on the TV screen, coming to us live from California. Coach, thanks for taking the time to join us, talk a little softball. We were just discussing before we got going. Beautiful hotel room. I'm very familiar with that look that you have.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I feel like I'm almost a permanent resident for as long as I've been here.
So to that point, Coach, I mean, how has it been just spending that much time? A lot of preparation that we discussed last week heading into it. You've been down there a while now, and you're making yourselves at home.
Yes, we are, for sure. We are. Yesterday was kind of a cool day for us. It was our off day, so it gave us a chance just to really take a break from the series that we just got done with and, get a little break before the PAC tournament starts. So we took a trip to Alcatraz.
Cool.
I've never been there before. A lot of us haven't. So that was kind of cool. And then went and did the Fisherman's Wharf and just really had a nice day.
That's cool. I mean, it's you got to get away from the game at some point, right? Like that's that team bonding aspect.
For sure. You've got to. If you're just constantly grinding, you're gonna, it's gonna wear you out. You've got to be able to walk away and refresh, reset, and then get ready to go again.
Did you do the full tour at Alcatraz, like the tour that includes people go into the jail cell and they shut the door?
No, well, I don't know. I know a lot of ours got in the jails, like behind to see what it feels like and how tight, it was. But we did the one where you put headphones on and it just basically directs you throughout the whole thing. It was really cool.
Cool. Yeah, I've done that once upon a time. Fisherman's Wharf, one of my favorite places. I have to ask, did anybody get my favorite food in the history of the world, cioppino, Coach?
I don't know, but I'll tell you, I had some fish and chips.
Yeah.
I had some calamari. I had a bunch of sweets. I ate way too much yesterday.
That's all right. It was the off day. Day. That's how it's supposed to be. All right, now reviewing the weekend, Coach. Would have liked to win the series. Got a big win, though, in the final game of the series at Stanford. Review the weekend for us. What'd you take away?
Yeah, I loved our gritty performance on Sunday. We needed to get that win. We needed to get that. That was going to determine our fate in the conference, and we wanted to be able to finish strong. So to get that win and finish third was huge.
Well, we did record earlier with Coach Lombardi, and, sometimes computers backfire. It's the best thing that I can say in this moment. But I'm happy to report that Scott fixed it. Back with our conversation, Coach Lombardi.
Feeds and had a great defense behind her.
To that point, Coach, it's always amazing. You talk about in the Diamond Sports, at least I do, walks kill you.
Yeah.
It's just so, just from an overall keys standpoint, you just can't give those extra free bases to anybody in this league, I feel like.
Yeah, this league is already hard enough. We gotta keep people off the base path with walks and home runs. It's really tough to defend those two things. So for her to constantly work ahead in the count, she had really good defense behind her. Alyssa Daniel made a great play in the end of the game. Yeah. A double play, a shot that was hit to her, and it was a line out to her at first, and then was able to step on first base and get a double play ball out of it. And I think of some balls that were hit deep that our outfielders tracked down. So overall, it was a great performance. And then just finding a way to get that one run. Sometimes you just need, you're going to win a lot of ball games like that. You just need one run and you need your defense and your pitching staff to hold on.
I was going to ask you about that. When that run was scored, as I was watching from afar, I'm like, all right, Ducks out to a good start. Here's for a few more. And then it's the 7th inning and it's 1-0. I mean, yeah. that's where I don't know. As a coach, you're always thinking about just the value, I guess, of any one run, I suppose, right?
For sure. And there's just times when you coach and as that game was going along, I'm like, this is going to be a 1-run ball game.
Yeah.
This is where our defense and our pitching staff's going to have to hold it down. This is going to be a 1-run ball game. And it was good. We needed to win a 1-run ball game against a team like that late in the conference. So.
I talk with Waz about this a lot, Coach. So, momentum's only as good as your next starting pitcher, right? That's what Waz always says. But that being said, to get that win, you touched on just how it makes you feel better going into the postseason, doesn't it? Does it amp up practice for the next few days before postseason starts in a couple days?
I just think what it does is it gives us confidence. Not that we don't need confidence. This team is a very confident team, but you're just going to go into postseason and you're going to have to win games like that.
Yeah.
That game right there is going to be a game that we're going to win later in postseason. And to do that right now and to be challenged like that was something that I felt we needed late in the season.
One of the questions that I think gets asked a lot in these settings is learning how to win, right, Coach, and learning how to win these close games. Do you identify traits of teams that just have that clutch factor? How do you as a coach, I guess, kind of judge and teach that clutch factor that clearly they had on Sunday?
Yeah. I think it's just the experience. This is a team that's older. They've been there. They've done that. They've been in many tough moments and understand how to push through.
Talking a little bit about some of your individuals, the conference awards, a little bit inside the show. The conference awards are coming out this afternoon. We'll have a full segment on them on Duck Insider tomorrow. So we'll find out all of the Ducks that are honored. But, Coach, safe to say in the final year of the Pac-12, one heck of a league and a heck of a team that's going to be recognized in that way. Is that a good way to put it?
Yes, definitely.
All right. Ariel Carlson, by the way, one of those. 15 home runs and 15 stolen bases. No one's ever done that in an Oregon uniform. We've talked about her a lot, Coach, but here as we start postseason and even playing center field now for your squad, maybe I don't ask you enough about what she's done defensively for you. Just Ariel Carlson, brag session from the head coach. The floor is yours.
Oh, goodness. I just can't say what she's done so much for us. She's just been clutch all year. We've needed her to come through and multiple times, and she does. She's just so quiet, calm, collective at the plate. Same in the outfield, to go from right field to center field. She can play center field, but, just to switch in the middle of the year, she doesn't say one word about it. She just does it. She's just very much go about my business. You could look at her and you couldn't tell if she just struck out or if she just hit a monster bomb.
Yeah, that's a great example, I'd imagine, for young players on your team, right?
For sure. This is a tough game, 3 out of 10 and you're successful.
Right. Right.
It's a tough game, and it's a game that can wear on you, and I just think she handles it really, really well.
Talking softball with Coach Lombardi. So postseason is upon us. The bracket has been set. The Ducks are the 3 seed against Utah. Do you like being the first game on Thursday, Coach? Is it nice that you just know you're playing? You're not waiting for someone else to wrap up or anything?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I do. We'll be ready to go, and that way we can get on the field and play, versus, it's cool. You get the night game. We had it last year, but you just have to wait around all day. So it's just, nice to just go and get started.
The way that the bracket sets, so it's Oregon, Utah, then Stanford and Cal. UCLA awaits the winner of Oregon State and Arizona State. Washington, Arizona. That's your day, breakdown on Thursday for the tournament. Coach, the tournament is still relatively new for all of us around Pac-12 softball. And now we're talking about the last one. So much work I know went into getting this tournament in particular going. Have you thought about that at all? Has it even crossed your mind that this is going to be the last one, I suppose?
Yeah, definitely. So it's why not go get the last one? We've worked hard to get it, and then we finally get it here, and then it just things have changed. Right. The college landscape has changed, and so it's to me, let's go get the last one.
I dig that. I absolutely love that. What are the general keys to success in your career in postseason? It's officially here, postseason, just in general. What teams succeed at this stage?
I think it's that obviously the teams that are prepared, the teams that know how to clutch up, the teams that take risks. I think sometime in postseason, you don't take risks because it's postseason, so you need to take risks. The teams that have good momentum, that are playing well at the end of the year. And then you just got to go out and get it done.
Yeah. Schedule ahead. To take fans inside the process. So you mentioned a little earlier, kind of getting ready, the video, review, scouting. What's the student-athlete schedule? What's the coaching schedule heading into postseason now?
Yeah, we, on the road, we always do study hall. Our team is very academic. They pride themselves in their academics, and I love that. That's probably one of my favorite things about this team. So look at some study hall. We'll go have some practice. We'll watch some video, have a couple meals today. Just kind of our typical thing that we do, whether it's postseason or not postseason. So
how critical is the practice, Coach, though, too? I understand you're practicing at some different facilities because there's only one field for all of you that are playing in the tournament, right? So how do you approach that as a coaching staff? Finding those, I don't know, how valuable is that?
Really valuable. Santa Clara was very nice to allow us to get on their field, so we could practice there, and it allows us to get a good, hard, regular, normal practice like we would if we were at home versus being on the road. I think that's what's important, is just staying to our routine and staying to what we normally do on a Tuesday and what we normally do on a Wednesday.
Makes sense. And the suitcase is still well packed. Everybody's all set,
Yes.
Yeah. That sounds about right. Coach, I guess just the last thing I have is, as you prepare for postseason, the tournament, what's the scouting report process like? Can you learn anything new about your opposition really at this point? How much has changed for a Utah team, for example?
Definitely. We played them earlier in the season, and I'm sure they look a lot different than they did at that point, just like we look a lot different. So I think, the typical things we're familiar with, but it's just, I think right now, who's hot right now, what are certain things they're doing now versus that they possibly didn't do when we played them.
Right. Ducks and Utes, 10 a.m. on Thursday. Ducks are the first game, a part of the Pac-12 softball tournament. First game, I guess, on Thursday. You never want to play in the first game in this tournament because it's the 8 versus 9 seed on Wednesday. Ducks don't have to play on Wednesday. Ducks are playing on Thursday as the 3 seed against the Utes. Coach, anything else fans should know? What are you thinking about heading into postseason?
Just excited about this team. I think we're playing really good ball right now. Just keep coming out and supporting us. We see our Ducks. We had a lot of Ducks here in Palo Alto, and I'm expecting to have some more Ducks during the tournament.
That's awesome. Coach Lombardi, safe travels. We'll catch up with you next week after a Pac-12 title.
All right, thank you.
All right, we'll get a timeout. Come back on Duck Insider. We'll cover some other Diamond Sport previews, if you will, here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
My simple solution to the problem was remove people from the scene and help them feel safer.
In response to attacks against Asian Americans, Maddie Park raised over $250,000 to donate cab rides to the Asian community.
There is so much more work to be done. We really need to come together and tackle this issue as a community.
Support the Asian community. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. So Oregon softball hitting the road. Knight's getting in the car tomorrow, driving down to Stanford. He'll have the call for the entire tournament. And sorry again, we have no idea what happened on the computer. It literally just froze, but then we were right back to it. So thanks for sticking with us through that interview with Coach Lombardi, and I really do appreciate her taking the time to come on and chat with us. It's a busy week for the Ducks when they got to stay on the road for the Pac-12 tournament, especially with where we are in around midterms for the University of Oregon student body, coming up on graduation before we know it. You ready to graduate, Knight? Yeah. He's nodding his head vigorously. Knight is ready to graduate. Knight's directing the show today before he hits the road tomorrow. Oregon baseball, Ryan Milano will be hitting the road with the Ducks. Today, we actually recorded a bit of a funny segment that I hope none of you will ever have to see. But just in case you do, and especially for Ashley Gentry back in the OSN studio, this could be really fun for her. I hope that we don't have to play it, but we might. But Ryan's hitting the road with Oregon baseball is the point. I think about 2% of you are going to understand this joke. The point is that there are really big games coming up for Duck baseball. Ryan's hitting the road, and the standings are tough for the Ducks. Arizona is 17-7, Utah 15-9, and then it's Oregon State at 14-9, and the Ducks at 14-10. Oregon trailing the Wildcats by 3 games in the standings. But Utah and Arizona are going to be playing each other. Oregon State still has to play Arizona. There's a path. We got to take care of business against the Huskies. I'm Joey Mack. Thanks for being with us. See you tomorrow. Casey Martin going to join us.
Adoption of teens from foster care is a topic not enough people know about, and we're here to change that. I'm April Dinwiddie, host of the new podcast, Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Each episode brings you compelling real-life adoption stories told by the families that live them with commentary from experts. Visit adoptuskids.org/podcast or subscribe to Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families and the Ad Council.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer.